So this is my book talk on The Chocolate War by Robert Cormier. This book is not part of a series, but a similar book would be I Am the Cheese by the same author. Um, a quick overview about the author would be he's really into writing pessimistic novels. Some recurring themes would be abuse, mental illness, revenge, and betrayal. In most of his books, the protagonist loses, but it provides a little bit of hope for the rest of the novel. And he really likes dark realistic fiction, which is what The Chocolate War is actually. He was born in 1925 and he died in 2000. And he has 4 kids. So the Chocolate War was given this title because it entails like a chocolate sale. So the school is holding a chocolate sale, and there's a little bit of like a quasi war going on between the the people who refuse to sell the chocolates, the underground society that runs the school, and the school itself. And it's named this also because like the Chocolate War seems like a pretty innocent title, but the actual events within the book are pretty dark, and it provides like really cool contrast. So like I said earlier, this book is realistic fiction. It is told in the third person objective because the author speaks in the third person, but we do not know the thoughts of or feelings of the other of any of the characters really, unless they're like displaying it visually. So a quick setting would be it's set at Trinity Catholic School in New England. This is an all boys school, and it's run by an underground like Illuminati esque type of group called the Vigils. They're mainly run through the football team, but like a couple other guys and stuff run it. And they're led by this dude Carter, but it really feels like they're actually because Carter plays a pretty minor role in the story, and then like the main dude that really does a lot of stuff through the Vigils would be Archie, who's kind of like he. Well, I'll just get onto that in a minute. But so a quick character overview would be Jerry Renault. He's the main character and protagonist. He has like a rebellious nature, and he wants more for his life than just like being on the football team at the school. He is dynamic because over the course of the story, he starts being really afraid of everybody, especially the Vigils, and then he learns that like they're not invincible, and if he teams up with people, he can really do a lot to like rebel against them. The second one will be Archie, who I was talking about earlier. He's kind of the main antagonist, and I guess I'll kind of say Archie slash the Vigils because they kind of like they're kind of like interchangeable. Like Archie, he's not the leader, like I said earlier, but he kind of leads the whole group through like deception, and they do this hazing kind of thing where like each new member will like be given a task by Archie, and it'll be like something like obscure that'll just like mess with people. So yeah, he's he's barely dynamic because like he doesn't undergo a lot of change throughout the story, but one major change would be that he starts feeling like invincible, like nothing can happen to him, and then he gets like humbled at the end because like the people kind of I don't want to spoil the end, but the people kind of like team up against him and whatnot. It doesn't work out too well for them, but a third character would be Brother Leon. He's another antagonist. He's sort of an ambassador between the school because he works at the school and the Vigils, and he's the one who runs the chocolate sale. He got Archie to agree. He got the Archie and the Vigils to agree to help him with the chocolate sale, and they kind of end up like accidentally doing the opposite with one of the tasks Archie like assigns. Another. Oh, he's static and he's flat because he doesn't undergo like any development throughout the story at all. And then a fourth character would be Goober. He is a protagonist, and he's a pretty minor character within the story, but he's like a friend to Jerry. And I said he was slightly dynamic as well because he undergoes a change in which, like, at the beginning he's really scared of the Vigils, and then towards the end he finds that, like, with help, anybody can like do anything really. So the plot of the story, it starts with Trinity School. Like I said earlier, they're being run by the Vigils, and they kind of like just do whatever they want within the school. And then Archie, so Archie, like I said, he's giving people like tasks the second they join the club, and he kind of like terrorizes the enemies of the Vigils and pretty much the entire rest of the school, like teachers included. And so Brother and Leon and Archie meet up one day, and they're like, Brother Leon's running the chocolate sale through the school, and he's like, "Hey, the Vigil should help us out with this. It would do a lot towards the school, and we could probably like give you guys some extra benefits. Make sure you're not like getting in trouble for anything, even though they're kind of like evil." And he makes them agree to sign double the or sell double the amount that they did last year, which doesn't end up happening, but. So Jerry is assigned Jerry, like the main character, like I was talking about earlier. He's assigned to refuse the sale of the chocolates because, like, okay, so the sale isn't exactly optional. It's like it. They say it's optional, but like, if you don't do the chocolate sale, you're ostracized by like everybody in the school. And this was supposed to be like refusing the chocolate sale would be something pretty bad because like everybody would be like, "Ooh, that guy's kind of weird." And somehow it was meant to increase the sales of the chocolate sale. Like if he denied to sell the chocolate for 10 days and then all of a sudden wanted to sell them, it would help them. But it ended up backfiring on the vigils and the school. After the 10 days, he just continues to not want to sell them because, like, why should he? It's just kind of like a boring thing to do, I guess. And the school and the vigils collaborate to end this rebellion. So they devise plans to make his like life very difficult. They like, for example, they prank call him like every day. They send people to beat him up. At the end, they have like a big like show in front of like the entire school. And at first, this rebellion that Jerry starts, it spreads throughout the school, and he like gets other people to refuse the sale as well, and sales go like down by exponentially. But like towards the end, people eventually begin to turn on him because like they're more afraid of the vigils than they are willing to, like they're more afraid of the vigils than they don't want to sell chocolates, if that makes sense. So they make a message out of Jerry, and then that's like I don't want to spoil any more than that. They really make a message out of him, and it is not pretty. So some themes throughout the book would be the futility of one's efforts against the machine. It's kind of like what was that? Flight over the Cuckoo's Nest, something like that. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because it's like showing the struggle of one person against like the school as a whole, which would be like kind of like one person fighting against society. One quote that kind of showed this was like they said often the school was rotten and infected, which would be like a metaphor for like the corruption that spread throughout the school through the vigils and the school. And then another theme would be, with the help of others, revolution can be successful, or really anything can be done. A nice quote for this would be, uh, oh, okay. So a quote for this would be, because at first, when people supported Jerry, the vigil's control crumbled. It would, oh, that's not a quote, my bad. Okay. But anyway, at the beginning, or throughout the middle of the book and the beginning, people like start to agree with Jerry, and like they reject the sale of the chocolates as well. And then towards the end, the vigils kind of like intimidate them. But had they supported him the whole time, the Chocolate Rebellion would have standed. So some foreshadowing within the book would be multiple times throughout the story, like Jerry will like look up in like the locker room or a classroom or something, and there's always like a poster that says, "Do I dare disturb the universe?" Which is kind of like his act would be like disturbing the peace within the school, and it's like foreshadowing that. And then okay, and then the end of the book he says, like his last quote is like the answer was no. I wish I would have written it down here, but I did not. So it's kind of foreshadowing that he should not disturb the universe. So who should read this book? I think anybody who's into realistic fiction or like any dark literature. I personally, I'm not into realistic fiction or dark literature honestly, but I kind of like the book either way, just because it wasn't exactly what I expected, but it was kind of like a pleasant surprise because the book kind of like kept you hooked the entire time. So it had a Lexile level of 820, which is 10th to 12th grade, and I found it really similar to the 1984, the book I read for my last book talk, because the ending was pretty dark, but it like presented like a spark of hope for the future protagonists within the story. And I didn't find any personal connection with this, but I kind of liked it. It was all right. So yeah, that's my book talk.